Tell him, Steve Dave. Talk about the carjacking.
You want to hear about the carjacking?
Yeah, I think the carjacking. And then go back to your MS-13.
Because
I think the carjacking is just a riveting story, especially when you're on trial, too.
That didn't feel fucking riveting. That felt
There's
annoying,
a great point, though. There's a great moment in that, as I recall.
Oh, yeah, there is.
Yeah.
The accusation?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was in Los Angeles at the time, and Hughes called me, and he was working on a film that I think it was up for an Academy Award that year. It was Bottoms Up with Paris
Oh, I
Hilton.
saw that on cable the other night. Yeah, I watched it.
It's pretty terrible. I actually think Muse is not that bad, but Paris Hilton it's unreal. She just has no range of emotion. It's completely fucking flatlined. It's just fucking robotic. I don't think I'm going to be as good at friends with Paris Hilton as Mark Consuelos, but that's okay. So anyway, Muse said, why don't you come on up to the set? The way you got to the set was you had to go to a parking lot, and there was like a shuttle bus that would take you up to the top of the hill where they were shooting the movie. And as I was on my way there, I got a call from Quinn. He used to go by DQ as opposed to BQ. Call him Drama Queen.
Yeah.
He's very dramatic motherfucker. Still is
Really?
sometimes. Oh, yeah.
You used to call him Drama Queen?
I used to call him DQ once in a while.
Nobody. He's making that up right now. Nobody has ever called me DQ. This is the first I'm hearing that.
Well, yeah, because I was on the sidelines like Walton Hockey being like, Drama Queen, right? But, I mean, I won't even say that this was that dramatic on his end.
Do you even remember what I was calling about?
Quinn was friends with this girl,
Wait,
Stacey.
still friends with her, so...
Well, he was friends with her, and she started dating someone and kind of, phased Quinn out of her life. But at any rate, he's friends with her again now because they broke up, and she's got nothing to do, so she's like, I guess I'll call him. So Quinn called me with this problem. I feel bad that this girl has sort of phased me out. Is that inaccurate?
It's not. It just makes me sound like I'm in love with Stacey or something like that. Which
no, I didn't think
right.
so.
When you paint it like
friends.
that, right?
Friends.
Why did I fucking
You care
paint
about
it like
your
that?
It's just
No, I didn't
upset by something.
You
Drama
were
queen.
upset by it, though, weren't you?
Oh my god, there's so much fucking testosterone in this room between the guy who won't block a shot with his ass and this other dude's like, I don't fucking care. So Quinn calls me and he says, hey, here's the problem. So I pull over into this parking lot that's right by the Hollywood Bowl. A parking lot over from where I'm supposed to take the shuttle bus. So we're talking, and this black Mercedes pulls up. There's a female driver, then there's a passenger, and then in the rear of the car, there is another passenger who I thought was a little kid because he was kind of slumped down low. And they asked me for directions, and they asked me for a certain street, and I said, well, this is the street right here. And they said, oh, okay, thanks. They pull away.
What time of day?
It was at night. It was like 8 o'clock at night, somewhere around there, 8:30. Okay. They pull, as I'm talking to Q, they pull up again. They ask for directions to the 101, which was, the entrance is just maybe a mile down the road. And so I tell them, and as I'm talking to Quinn, they start inching up little by little. And I said to him, what did I say?
You said you were very suspicious of me. They're blocking the exit.
Yeah, it's almost like they're trying to box me in. Isn't that fucking weird? What's wrong with these fucking idiots?
Right.
So they pull away again, and I continue the conversation with Quinn.
Are you in New York?
I'm in New York. Yeah, I was in Staten Island.
So we continue to talk, and then all of a sudden, I hear, because the windows rolled down a little bit, somebody running up the side. I was still talking to Quinn on the phone when they attacked, so I dropped the phone, and, it hung up, I guess. It flipped shut or whatever. And my first thought was that it was Muse, because they run up, it happened so fast. They run up, they pull the door open. And I thought it was Muse until I realized that Muse generally doesn't carry a gun with him. And it was a dude, like a Latino type dude, in a hoodie and shit, and he has a friend with him. He pulls the door open, and I get out of the car, and I say, just take it, I don't care. And he says, no, you're coming with us. They make me get in the back seat, and they checked me and stuff for like a knife or a weapon or whatever.
You didn't have your knife on
I have my knife on me. I get in the back seat, and they drive away, and they said, we're going to an ATM. They said they were going to go to an AMCO station, or not, ARCO station that was nearby, but then they blew past it, and they start shooting down south on the 101, which is one of its main freeways.
Now, they have a gun. right? We gotta
They have a gun
remind people
pointed
of
at
that,
me.
right?
Who's driving?
I came to know them in our brief relationship as George and Holmes, because the guy driving, he was calling him George. The passenger that George was referring to as home. They say that they're like, you live in this area, where's an ATM? I said, I don't live in this area. You know, I do know where an ATM is though. So we're driving down the 101 and the phone rings. And I had the SpongeBob, like, I'm a goofy goober. That was my ringtone at the time. And the guy, I don't know why, but he picks up the phone and he goes, somebody beat Q.
Not DQ?
Unfortunately, I had to tell him later on. I'd be like, George Holmes, let me tell you a little something about this, Barry. I don't know why, but he wanted me to pick it up. So I picked it up and I said, hey. And Quinn was like, hey, what's going on? I said, nothing. And Quinn, thank God Quinn's a fucking perceptive, with it guy, because he said, is there something going on? Is there something, like, should I be calling the police or something? Now, were you half jesting at the time?
No, because what I heard was you were in the middle of a sentence, and then I just heard a scuffle, and then the phone cuts off, and then I called a few times, so I just felt like something was off, and when I heard your voice, I knew right away, because, you know,
I was like,
yeah,
everything's
I'm like,
fine.
No, that sounds normal, but that's normal. Yeah, I just heard your voice, like, you were very measured in the way you were speaking, very, like, specific with your words, which you never are.
And he said, should I be calling the police or 911 or whatever? And I said, yeah, totally, you should. Holmes is giving me the high sign, like it's time to hang up. So I said, all right, well, you know, I'll talk to you later. Thinking like, well, maybe I will be. Who knows? Because the one guy at the passenger seat, Holmes, you know, he has the gun pointed at me the entire time.
Well, if you're omitting a line, because before you hung up, I go, listen, I said, if you're fucking with me, when we hang up the phone, I'm telling you I'm calling the cops and I'm getting helicopters and everything out after you. I was like, so let me know now if you're fucking around. And you were like, yeah, I'll talk to you later, yes. So I was like, that's my stomach fucking plummeted.
Unfortunately, when Quinn calls 911 in New York, it's not routed to
Right,
LA.
yeah. I was gonna say, how on earth would you coordinate a call to California to look for him? Did you even know his license plate?
I knew his car. It was a trial to get in touch with 911 in Los Angeles, and I was screaming at 911 operators, you know, and stuff like that. I felt confident because I knew the area and I knew the car.
So and it's the first time I've really seriously contemplated it, but I looked how fast he was going. He was going about 70 miles an hour, and I look out the window and I'm thinking, could I successfully tuck and roll at 70 miles an hour down the 101? And decided probably not. So jumping out of the car, going that fast was not an option. And then they started like arguing. Like they really fucking kicked it like the Lockhorns, where like cause George he drove over the rumble strips on the side of the freeway, and Holmes started yelling at him, and he's like, don't yell at me, man, I don't like to be yelled at. And I had to sort of mediate at a certain point where I said, guys, I said, just relax. Let's go get the money and it'll be fine. I steered them towards an ATM that I knew was kind of by Mosier's place. It was well lit. There's a lot of people in that area. And when Holmes got out of the car to get the money, the other guy held the gun and he said, we have families and, we know your family doesn't want you dead. Little did he know. But he was being very reassuring and said as soon as they get the money from the ATM that I can go. But what's his name? Holmes comes back with the money and he gets into the car and he said I could only get $400, and that was not the case. Yeah, he lied. No honor among thieves, man, because he actually took out $800. So when he gets in, I picked up the lock and the guy turns around with the gun and he goes, "What the fuck you doing, man?" And I said, you said that when he got the money, I could get out of the car, and that's what I'm going to do. And I got out of the car, and it was the first and last time I had ever waited to be shot in the spine and fucking fall down into the middle of Sunset Boulevard, but he didn't shoot. I closed the door, and I kind of ran a little bit down the street, got on the sidewalk, and they fucking took off. I had to go to, it was like a bodega of sorts in the area, and these guys are all Spanish too and shit. and asked to use the phone. The security guard at the place said, well, what happened? And I told him, and he's the first thing, he was upset that he's like, well, what were they? He's like, well, were they black? Or I was like, no, they were a couple like Latino guys. And you could see he was distressed by that. He was like, oh, it always has to be that way, man. He's making us look bad. And I said, I've got no beef with you. You're letting me use your phone. But 911 took probably 25 minutes to get there. After holding for maybe 5 minutes, it was unbelievably inefficient, that whole 911 system. I know earlier we talked about me sticking my ass out because I'm afraid of a hockey ball, so I'm not trying to be fucking manly and shit, but like I never really felt scared during it. Like I could only focus on like, how am I going to get out of this? Like what steps am I going to take to sort of get out of this? Because my feeling was that they didn't really have a plan. Like they got me in the car, they got the money, and if they weren't going to let me go, it was going to be, well, we'll drive you out into the desert and make you walk back. Or we'll drive you out to the desert and leave you there with like a bullet in your head or something. So I kind of figured like, I got to make a move. I got to do something. The carjacking was nothing though compared to after I identified them, trying to get through the process of a court case in the LA County legal system. About a week later, a police officer called and they said that they found the car. I went down to the police station and he showed me a bunch of mug shots and I identified the two guys and the female driver. It was, God, it seems like it might have been a year and a half before it was finally all said and done. It was like, okay, you have to go to, God, I forget what they called it, but you had to go to this thing where you basically gave a statement, and they canceled it. And then the next time they said, okay, it's going to be on this date, and it was the date that I was supposed to be in Alabama, where my friend Jill was graduating veterinary college, and I said I can't go that day, and then it turned out it was canceled anyway. It was just a series, until it went to trial, just a series of cancellations and all this other bullshit. Continued, that was fucking the big thing. It's been continued. The defense isn't ready. It's been continued. Fucking some juror didn't show up. Well, like I was working at the store at the time, so I don't know how people who have a normal job that they can't just kind of walk away from, I don't know how they would do it. They would probably get fired. But anyway, long story short is the lady who was driving the car got convicted. They caught one guy.
Which one? Which one, George or Holmes?
It was George. Holmes escaped.
Did the defense ever maintain it? What, you had the wrong guy?
No, they actually didn't maintain that I had the wrong guy. They said that I went on, the way I identified the guys was to go online and looked at pictures that I had uploaded or that anyone had uploaded.
Where did the defense lawyer maintain you saw these pictures?
On the Sprint website. Like the defense lawyer was saying,
those actual pictures of these thugs were put on a website for Sprint?
Right, uploaded.
Who uploaded them?
I don't know.
Did you have a lawyer?
No, it was
The prosecution wasn't like, we object?
Well, no, of course they did. They said that wasn't the case. That's what the whole fucking case hinged on, and that's like when he was acquitted. Right. He was like,
tell him the big accusation.
The big accusation was, after they got into and they didn't do this with the female. They did it with because it was weird. The trial was for the woman and George at the same time, and then once the woman was dealt with, then it was just me and George kind of one-on-one, and he did a lot of like staring and stuff. And the defense lawyer came up and asked what I was doing and parked in the parking lot. And I said I was talking to a friend of mine. And he said, well, why did you pull over into a parking lot to talk? I said, well, I don't really like to drive and talk. And plus,
was it
my
illegal
friend was
in California to drive?
Not at the time. Not at the time. I said, my friend was making a movie and I was going to, go up to the set. And he said, well, are you aware that whatever the parking lot is a big gay cruising area? And I said, no, I was not aware of that. Wait, huh? No. Who said that? Did Walt tell you that? Walt told you that's why I was there? No, I was blown away because I was just like, what the? Like, I didn't get it at first. I was like, where is he going with this? You know?
And the fucking prosecution still didn't object. They just kept their mouth shut.
Well, no, the prosecution can't
Letting you look like some sort of fucking...
I'm like Al Pacino and cruising and shit. I'm like, lips or hips, baby.
Did you look at her and be like, what are you doing to me up here? Like, why you let me get
She's like, you know, just say it. Just say. And then they said, have you ever been to this website? I wish I could remember the name of the website, but it was like a gay hookup website. And I guess what they were driving...
Well, wait a minute, though. How, if you had said no... How, I'm sure you did say no, right? You never been to that site.
I mean, I was under
oath.
I can't perjure myself.
So, how could he bring such a question up?
Here's what they were trying to do with the jury. That I figured this out later.
Here's what I think he was trying to do. Maybe,
okay.
And then this coming from someone you're telling the story.
Okay.
And it's heinous by the defense.
Right.
Of George.
That sounds like a Lifetime movie. The defense of George.
He's trying to say you're a John cruising for gay sex, which would be then. To the jury, you're not believable.
No, you're close.
Okay.
You're close.
Or B, he's saying you're a John cruising for gay sex, and if you get carjacked, so be it. Who cares?
No, he wasn't saying that either. I don't even think he was saying I was a John, because then I would be looking for gay prostitutes. I think he's saying that like this is just an area where guys go, and they're like, oh hey, what's up? You want to suck each other's dicks? Like that kind of shit. Not really. Like prostitution and stuff. What they were doing was, if I lie about why I was up there in this parking lot, like I said, I was going to see Muse at the set.
Right.
They're saying bullshit. You were like, what if he was there cruising for other gay dudes and shit? I lose credibility right there because if I'm embarrassed or whatever because that's the reason I'm there. If I lie about that, then how can I be trusted?
What kind of clothes were you wearing that night, though? We were wearing like.
Yeah, I had a thong and a fucking spandex top on.
That short skirt, the skirt was too short, she deserved it.
Yeah, exactly. Like they should have thrown you on a pinball machine, you fuck. Go on, college boy, you're next. No, they wanted to damage my cred.
And your cred would be damaged if you're
not if I was doing that.
If
I lied about. If I lied for the reason I was there, then I'll lie about other shit too.
I would be looking at the prosecutor and being like, can you motherfuckers open your mouth and object about something?
Yeah, I know. It was, well, she got mad at me, actually. Like I said, the guy was like, oh, it's a gay cruising area. Oh, have you ever been to this website? Oh, gay something else. I said, dude, it seems like you know an awful lot about this kind of stuff. And she did not like that. My prosecutor, she was like...
You're antagonistic, what's it called? Antagonistic witness?
Hostile witness, yeah. Yeah, hostile. She's like, just say you suck it and fucking let it be done. She told me, she's like, you got to go back in there and say that you were being sarcastic because I guess the jury...
Yeah, won't like you being a wise ass.
Right, even though they're
Did
like...
they laugh? Did the jury laugh? Did anybody
people
laugh?
laughed. Yeah, people laughed in the courtroom. Yeah, I was like, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I was like, pwned. Epic fail for you guys. No, it was none of that.
I just think
it's fucked up.
It's so awful. How does you live with yourself?
I don't know.
How
I
can
would never want to be that
How
guy.
could that guy live with himself if he got that fucking guy off at your expense? Now everyone's like painting you with the fucking, the big scarlet.
Yeah,
pink
H.
F.
Scarlet letter F.
Yeah. But I wonder what, maybe I should have said that to begin with. Like, maybe I should have been like, well, there I was, cruising for gay ass. I mean, because then where would they have gone? After all that time, after all those fucking misfires and continuances and all this other bullshit, they never bothered to
That
tell
he was
me
found
that,
innocent?
that
He was found innocent?
He was found innocent, yeah. And
Wow.
what the jury based it on was that they didn't believe
Cum in your beard?
that I had it. Yes. They were like, you came in every day with a fucking face like a glazed donut. It looks like you were shellacked at the fucking gay parade.
Why was it? Why? What? They didn't believe you on what?
They thought that I looked at the pictures.
How did the thugs took the time to upload their own pictures onto a Sprint website?
But that's
or
the
the
thing.
police
I
did.
thought that it must. No, it's not for other people to share. It's my own. It would have been my own personal.
Oh, your
account.
own account. Oh,
right,
okay,
right,
okay,
right.
Gotcha.
So they're saying that I went to that account and,
What
and
difference
looked at
would
the
it make?
pictures. Well, I guess to them, if I saw these pictures and then I went in and I saw people.
How would George be on your fucking phone if he wasn't the guy who did it then?
It doesn't prove it though. It doesn't prove that it was him that took it because there were a bunch of people on the camera evidently. They said that they stopped a car in a trailer park and a bunch of people just jumped out. It was a stolen car. They found a cell phone and they traced it back. You know, they called Sprint and all that other shit. The guy who was in the task force kept calling me and he's like, "You gotta call Sprint, find out how to do this. You gotta call Sprint, find out how to do that. They won't tell me." I'm like, "You guys are the fucking cops." But I guess you have to get like a subpoena and it's a whole thing.
That's what I meant. Subpoena your computer to see if you know what your activity was. If you had gone to the.
Like, wow,
but like you said,
a lot of gay websites on this, bro. I'm like, no. I was doing research for the case. What's the map quest to the parking lot for?
It's telling though, like what in your case, kidnapping, what a defense lawyer and both sides do it are willing to do to win a case.
I told, when it was all said and done, I told the prosecutor, I said, "This has been the worst." Said, "Not even the carjacking. This has been the worst experience of my life. And if I ever got carjacked again, I would report it." But I would never, ever say, like, "Oh, I know what they look like." I would never want to go through it.
What did they tell you then?
Nothing. They never,
They
like
just
I
looked
said,
at you like with a blank
no, I was
stare?
on the phone. I was on the
okay.
phone with her, and she's like,
They
"Yeah,
weren't.
I'm
They
sorry."
didn't apologize. Okay.
She's like, "I'm sorry that, it didn't." I mean, I guess she tried her hardest.
Like the defense is like, just keep on him, or like keep delaying it, and making his life. He's got to change his life. He's got to make appointments. He's got to break. He's got work. He'll give up.
Yeah, and I was about to. I mean, I would have liked to have given up. I almost fucking felt like apologizing to fucking George at the end for dragging it out so much. I was just like, I can't imagine this has been good for you either.
Sorry, George.
Yeah. Had I known, I would have never reported you. But that is my advice. If you get carjacked in LA and you have an opportunity to identify the people, don't do it. Just get your car back, get your life back in order. Fucking forget trying to deal with LA justice because it fucking doesn't work.
I thought you were gonna say if you're out cruising in the gay parking lot, keep your door locked.
Yeah. Never fess up ever.
Clear your browser history.
Yeah. Yeah. Just fucking break my computer in half.
All right, then. Well,
that's it, man. That's it for this week. And
wait, whoa, man! I
What?
was gonna say, tell him, Steve Dave.
Well, I don't want to be identified. What if George is still out there looking for me? George and Holmes. You want to know?
Tell him, Dave, Steve.
Yeah.